Here in 351 to 355, Aeneas is bringing his rebuttal to Dido's complaint that he's leaving her and abandoning her in Carthage. He brings his rebuttal to an end. He says, "The terrible image of my dear father, or of my father Anchises, warns me in my dreams and terrifies me as often as night covers the lands, covers the earth with its dewy shade or its wet shadows, as often as the fiery stars rise. My son Ascanius and the injustice to his dear head warns me. Ascanius, whom I deprive of the kingdom of Hesperia and of the fields destined for him, his fated fields." So in the midst of some fairly straightforward Latin, some fairly straightforward dialogue, some very carefully crafted and very uncomplicated Latin, let's say, 351 to 355 is very highly rhetorical. You get the emphatic position here, me, and this is accompanied by the genitive patris anchisi, which is really removed from its anchor, from its the accompanying element, which is the turbata imago. So the audience is left in suspense here because we don't really quite understand what's going on. We get the direct object, and then we get the unrelated element of the father Anchises. And this is fairly unusual in Latin, that we get things so disparate. And then we get to further our anticipation, we get these quotiens subordinate clauses. And so really the crux of this is that the image of his father, or of Aeneas' father, terrifies him, and the idea of his son Ascanius and the injustice that he would do to him terrifies him or warns him. So nothing about these subordinate clauses is, I think, overly complicated. We have the ablative of means here, how or with what means or by what means night covers the lands. But again, I think that here's the may being repeated down in 354. So the same syntax, but a little less quizzical, in the sense that we have the direct object in emphatic position and then the subject, and we just repeat the verb. So me, my boy Ascanius, terrifies or warns me, advises me, and the injustice, and then we have this objective genitive here, literally the injustice of his dear head, but the injustice that Aeneas would do to his dear head. And then we have the relative pronoun here, sort of distant from its antecedent, which is Ascanius. So Ascanius, whom I would deprive, and then the ablative of separation here, I would keep from the kingdom of Hesperia, and I would keep from the fated fields. And I think Applat students might just be worth pointing out that this doesn't really mean fatal as in mortal or death bringing.